everybody, welcome to a special episode of the Brownie Knits podcast. I know, surprise. I said I wasn't going to be podcasting anymore, but I thought, I sort of felt up to it, and it's the holidays in 2017, and I just thought I'd record a podcast, edit it, and put it up there for you guys. So hopefully you find something that you enjoy, and yeah, so as I've said in the past, I am Gina, also known as Brownie Knits. Usually at this point I would introduce my little dog Kennedy, aka Kiki. Sadly, Kiki passed away in the fall of this year. It was very sudden and we were devastated and absolutely heartbroken, and still are heartbroken because she was there through such important times for me and for Patrick, and we miss her every day. And we always said that when we didn't have the Yorkies anymore, one, that we wouldn't get another Yorkie. Although we loved Kennedy and Riley to death, and I love Yorkies, they were pretty impossible to train. I think most Yorkie owners probably agree with that. So we knew that if we wanted to get another dog, it wasn't going to be Yorkie. And at the time, we really thought that we would probably wait a few years. We didn't last at all. So it was just too quiet in our house without a little four-legged friend. And after the year that we've had, we act in the moment much more than we ever did before. Like, we just don't tend to wait for things because you just don't know if that moment's going to be there. So we have a new family member that I thought I would start off the podcast introducing you guys to. If you've watched the podcast in the past, you know I'm a humongous Gilmore Girls fan. So this is Lorelai Gilmore Canals. So this is little Lorelai. And Lorelai is a Cavachon. So her dad was a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and her mother was a Bichon Frise. Now, this is not that old of a breed, and when you look online, they all look so different. There's not really an established look of the breed or anything like that, so some of them will look more like a Bichon, some will look more like a Spaniel, some you'll just, not have a clue what they are. She gets mistaken for a Shih Tzu puppy, and there's another one that she gets mistaken for. But every time we've run into a Cavalier owner, they instantly say, "Oh, she's a Cavachon, isn't she?" So if you're interested in a Cavachon, just look at the individual puppies themselves and learn about their parents and that kind of thing. Because she is probably smaller than most Cavachons will be. They usually are around the size of the Bichons and the Cavaliers, so most places will range that 10 to 14 pounds. She's expected to be more like 8 to 10. At her last vet appointment, which was 2 weeks ago, she was 3.7 pounds. So she was just over 2 pounds when we got her, and she was already 3 months old at that point. So, and she is not a morning dog at all. It is a little before 10 a.m. here when I'm filming this, and her day really doesn't get started until around 2:30 or 3 o'clock. Like, she will get up in the morning when we get up to grab herself a drink, grab something to eat, and then it's back to sleep. If we get up to move around in the morning, she'll begrudgingly go to the bathroom and then go back to sleep. So she's a night owl. She likes to play somewhere between 3 and 9 or 10 at night. She, is her prime time hours. But even then, she's super, super quiet. She only really growls or barks at all when she is playing. And the rest of the time, she's really silent. So you can see she's falling asleep again. But she is like this white fluff ball, except she's got this dark spot right here near her rear end. And then she's got the tri-colored characteristics of the tri-colored Cavalier around her head and face. So, and she's like a little cotton ball. She gets all poofed up. One of the reasons we really wanted to have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, but I have pretty bad allergies, and I know that they shed quite a lot. Whereas the Cavachons, since they're crossbred with the Bichons, they really don't shed much at all. I brush her in the morning and at night, and because she's a white dog, she gets a bath at least once a week. She loves the brushing. She does not care for the bath, and she's so on getting blown dry. She doesn't like it when we first start, but then she settles into it like it's a spa day. So what is yeah, I'm very grateful that even though her name is Lorelai, she does not have her namesake's vocal qualities, should we say. She's very silent. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else to tell you about her. She's just a real sweetheart, aren't you? We give kisses? Yeah, kisses. So she'll like bump your nose when you say give kisses. Oh, she's super smart. My gosh. She's so little that we were not allowed to take her outside. They didn't recommend that. So we put down a potty pad the night we got her, showed her where they were, and the next day she went on her own and has been ever since. So it's amazing to us, especially as former Yorkie owners, and having to deal with how stubborn they can be about potty training. So she's super smart. She learned sit after like 30 minutes of treat training. And then she has some other tricks, but she's definitely in her terrible 2 stages, because she doesn't want to cooperate and come to you right now. She doesn't. So we're going to work on that. Probably going to take some training classes with her after the new year. So she's just a little snuggle muffin. She's so cute and sweet. Right now she hears, and you might be hearing, her bird brother, Poindexter. He gets very chirpy in the mornings. So yeah. So, all right, so that's Lorelai, and we'll see if she'll just kind of hang out on my lap. But I thought today that I would show you guys some of the things that I've been working on, and go through some of the advent calendar stuff, and yeah, just have some fun. So I thought I'd start. I'm going to start here. So this bag is a bag that Christina from A Knitter's Life, actually, let's see, here's Christina. So Christina from A Knitter's Life made us these bags last year. I think it was for our birthdays, I believe. And so they're just like a simple canvas bag. And then she gave us some badges as starting badges. So she gave us our knitting badge up here. And then for me, she gave me an I Did It badge, because that was after my surgery. And just surviving it, I did it. And so then I had added on a couple badges. I added on the knitting, or the Needle Ninja, and the Bad to the Bone. I thought they were going to be much smaller online when I ordered them than they are, but I was cross stitching a lot, and then that one I just couldn't pass up. So in our Knitter's Advent swap with A Knitter's Life Christina and Little Britches CP, which is Carol, this year Christina has been sneaking in with our minis on her days. She's been putting in more badges. So I have the friendship badge that we've added, and then the writing badge, because we text and email each other frequently, and then we all love to read, so we have our reading badges. We're in the US, so she did the American flag. And then I also did a holiday swap, Advent swap with Hannah. So Hannah Kita on Instagram, and has a podcast, Hannah and Sheep Sally, and she's in Finland. And Hannah sent me the Girl Gang, so I added that on. So the way I have my canvas bag on one, for now anyway, on one side I have all of my badges, and then on the other side I have all the pins that I've collected over the years at different knitting adventures. So anyway, that's been kind of fun to add on to from the Advent openings. And if I just go through the contents of what's in the Advent bag. So this was something I made for each of the girls for one of my days, and it's just a headphone cozy, so you can keep your headphones in it. And this was a free pattern that I found off of Ravelry, so you can just pop up there to find it. Just search for headphone cozy or something like that. So it's just like a little octagon, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not technically an octagon, but it's shaped similar to an octagon, except that you have this rib up at the top. So if you, what's that beekeeper's quilt? I think is what it was called. So it's similar to that, only, you know, it's open at the top of the rib. So, and you can just use leftover fingering weight bits and have like a nice little project there. If I keep digging in the bag, let's see. Oh, Hannah, who I mentioned earlier, one of the things she sent me was this bracelet, which is super meaningful. So it says, "Courage, dear heart." So I thought I'd give a very brief update because I've had a lot of people asked me to have a podcast episode where they got to see Lorelai. And then a lot of people asked me to give an update on my health. So just very fast, since I talked to you guys last time, I'm still recovering. When I had my surgery, which is in March of 2017, they told me it would take a year for things to heal up and truly settle in. They did, you know, so much, and if you haven't heard that, you can look back at episodes or look at the Brownie Knits threads on Ravelry on the Facebook or on the Brownie Knits Ravelry group. But anyway, so I did have an oncology appointment several weeks ago, and so far everything is moving along. I've learned like foods that I can eat, foods I can't. I met with a dietitian, I think, since I talked to you guys. And so I'm on tons and tons of supplements because what my body can digest and what my body needs are two different things. And a lot of the things that your body needs, my body has a really hard time with if I eat it in the food form. So for instance, I cannot do lettuce. So like salads are a no-no for me. I have to be very careful on my fruits and vegetables. My body seems to like protein okay and simple carbs okay, but you know, that's not great for nutrition or the waistline. So I take in my supplements to get what I need. And then I had a problem with my hair falling out, and I know I'd mentioned that on the podcast before. And I talked to my oncologist about it. Part of the reason I started the supplements was because of my hair falling out. We didn't know if it was nutrition, if it was the medicines I was on, what was causing it. My oncologist believes, because it happened right at the 6-month from surgery mark, that it was because of the anesthesia, which makes total sense because it has not been falling out now. As a matter of fact, it's been growing back in, and I have all these little flyaways that are baby hairs that are really hard to tame, so you just have to wait for them to get grown out, but at least it came back, right? So a lot of them came back gray, so there was a lot of stress going on, and just stripped that color right off. So I don't know if you can tell here, but I've decided to go red from now on. So since I have to go get it colored all the time now anyway, that's what I do. And in terms of daily health, like the biggest thing that I have as a complaint is just I have daily nausea that they can't really figure out. So I have a daily medication that I take for that, but it's really pretty inconvenient to get nauseous like that. And yeah, there are other things, but I don't want to get too graphic. And I have my next scan is in May. So hopefully they don't find anything on the scan and I can still be listed as a NED, which is no evidence of disease. And even though they know that I have the cancer in there at a cellular level, as long as we can get of a stretch without it forming into a tumor somewhere, fantastic. So that's just our hope, but I'll never be cancer-free because it had gone undiagnosed for so long, despite my going to the hospital and doctors so much. So, and that is really, really common for carcinoid and neuroendocrine cancers. They get misdiagnosed for anywhere from 5 to 10 years. So by the time that they're correctly diagnosed, it's often already metastasized. So if you learn more about that, the more we know, the sooner we can catch it and somebody else won't have that in the future. So, all right, there you go. All right, so back to some fun things. So this is a funny story. So there are I threw a couple of yarns that are newly acquired, I guess you would say, in my bag to show you guys. So this yarn is from Turtlepurl Yarns, and it is her glitter and stripes base. So it's her normal striping yarn, but it has the glitter in there. I think, yeah, it's picking it up a little bit on the video. And this is the color Mistletoe Kisses. So Carol and I will often send each other messages on Instagram. Did you see this? Did you see that? Like, we encourage each other to shop quite often. And so I was really trying to be good. I was really trying to resist the temptation because this year I've purchased so much Turtlepurl yarn. It's my favorite yarn, hands down. And I unintentionally am working my way through getting all of her colorways and knitting those into socks for myself. But I was trying to be good because I had so much on my shelf already. And on Thanksgiving, we were driving up to my in-laws for Thanksgiving dinner, and Carol sent me a thing on Instagram. Did you see she has more back in the shop? And she was having her Black Friday sale the next day. So I had said to my husband, oh, I'm going to go on and get that since it'll be on sale. So we got home after Thanksgiving night dinner. We came home that night, and he went upstairs and came back down with a gift bag and said, here. And he had gotten me this as a surprise Christmas gift, and I kind of ruined it, but I'm kind of excited to have it ahead of time. So I have a few pairs of socks on the needles that I'm hoping to finish up soon that I'm going to show you today, and then this will be going on to a pair of the needles hopefully later today, so that because it's just going to be straight knitting, and we're going to go see several movies this weekend, and I like to knit on my plain socks in the movies. So, sorry, I think I have the hiccups. That was the other thing with Lorelai when we first brought her home as a puppy. She would get the hiccups constantly. She's totally asleep. Like, she's like a little rag doll when she's asleep. So when we first brought her home, she was like this little teeny tiny thing, and she would sleep on my shoulder or on my head. And now she has realized that Daddy has a lot more body heat coming off of him, so she sleeps behind his back at night. But anyway, this is usually how she is with me in the mornings, like all curled up. But when we first brought her home, she had the hiccups so often, which I read is, you know, very common in puppies. Oh, who am I talking to, huh? Yeah, back to sleep she goes. So anyway, and then I have this skein of yarn that Carol sent me. It is Turtlemade yarn, and the colorway for this one is Beachfront, and we all know how much I love the beach, but I also think it looks kind of like icy. So after I finish Mistletoe Kisses, I'm going to cast this one on and knit that pair up. Oops, sorry if I hit the camera. Okay, and then in my Advent package holiday exchange, ooh, gonna get caught in my necklace, with Hannah, one of the things we agreed to do is in December, Hannah, Carol, Christina, and myself, in December and then in January, we're doing a #AlongWeMake knit-alongs. So in December, we agreed to make the Yellowstone hat, which I have here, and I'll put in the show notes, I'll put the designer name. So Hannah and I sent each other the yarn and buttons for the Yellowstone hat as part of our gift exchange. So here's the hat, and the yarn, the tag I have in here somewhere. The yarn is KnitJoysYarn, and yeah, here we go. KnitJoysYarns, and the color is Vanilla Sky. So it's like this pinkish color with some purple tones in it as well. And I'm going to throw up a photo here of me wearing it, and it's got little Lorelai in there as well, so that I don't have to put it on right now and mess up my hair. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun to knit. It's been forever since I knitted a hat flat. So you knit it, it is a paid for pattern, so I don't want to give too much away, but you knit it flat and then do a little bit of seaming, but you knit it flat so that you can have this open button band here. So it's really nice and cozy and warm, which we need right here because it is freezing in Indiana right now. The wind last night was so severe, it knocked out power. We still had power, but it knocked out power to a large part of the city. It was just really, really whipping pretty badly. So yeah, nice, cozy knits are a must at this time of year. So I'm just going to keep digging through this bag because I just kind of threw everything in it, in this basket, I should say. This is the Santa basket where I've been keeping, isn't it cute? I've been keeping all of my projects and advent calendar stuff. So I just thought I'd toss that in. But we all know that I love a good Christmas ornament. And this year, if you've been following along on Instagram or some of my old episodes of the podcast, after the surgery, when I was stuck at home, I decided that I was going to start organizing and redoing rooms, and you know, it's all I could do. I could just sit and plan and then have somebody else execute. And so far, like, I know by the last podcast, I think I had done the master bedroom and bath, rearranged the guest room, and we'd rearranged the formal living room, and we'd built a new dining room table and all of that. So we've been enjoying all those things, and then since then I've also redone the family room. And then, you know, I think Patrick probably thought, oh, she's out of rooms, almost out of rooms. And so then I decided, oh, I'm going to get our old Christmas tree, which was an artificial tree we had for 17 years, and the needles were falling off of it like a real one. So we knew we had to get a new tree, and we did. And then we got a tree for our dining room to do the decorations in there with the new farmhouse table and such. So that was a lot of fun. So I did all of those things, and our old main ornaments for the tree were all cracked and broken. So I out with the old and in with the new. So I went with a red and white ornament theme. So that was a lot of fun. So I'm now trying, you know, not to redecorate anything or redo anything, although in 2018 we are going to get that garage in shape. And yeah, so Christmas ornaments, I thought I'd do a little tour of a few new handmade ones. So in my advent package from Carol, one of the days, she sent us this little cute looped Christmas ornament, and this is very similar to the larger ones that are from Church Mouse, yeah, yarns. So if you go onto their website, they have a pattern for it. And Carol and I had actually exchanged the larger ones. One year I got her one size as a gift, and when I opened up the gift from her, it was the other size. So it was funny because we thought it alike. So this is actually on a larger version is on my front door. It's very easy to make, and they make great gifts. And Carol just miniaturized it for a little holiday tree ornament. So I love it. I think it's so cute. And then when I was in September, I went and stayed with my in-laws when Patrick was on a business trip. And in the guest room where I was staying, my mother-in-law had a little crocheted angel hanging on the dresser knob. And I asked her about it, and she said, oh, I made that, you know, years and years ago. I showed a photo or something like that to the yarn shop owner, and then she sat down with me and we just kind of came up with it based on the photo that they were looking at, because they couldn't find a pattern at the time. So in the age of Ravelry now, I popped on when I got home and put in crocheted angel ornament, and up popped one. And so I used some crochet thread that I had and a small hook, and I made one of these for each of the girls for their Advent, one of their Advent days, and made one for myself. So I gave myself the wonky one. I think it was the first one, so I had a little bit of difference on the wings, but that's okay. She's special that way. So yeah, that was really, those were super quick, and I think they would make such cute like gift tag or gift bow ornaments on the outside of packages if you wanted to do something like that. Okay, then no, there's one more here it is. The other ornament, handmade ornament that I had to show you guys today, this came from Hannah in one of the Advent days. And she is so creative and uses up everything. I envision Hannah as, of course I've never been to her house, although I would love to. She lives in Finland. I envision Hannah as having like this crafty abode. Like, she doesn't let anything go to waste. When they're done with it as its intended form, she always finds something else to do with the remains of it. And so I wasn't surprised at all to see that Hannah had come up with this little birdie, and she used what is probably a button for his long beak, and then she crocheted his body and his wings, and then there's a little button eye on each side, and then she did beads that she strung down for his legs, and he's so cute. Isn't that fun? So yeah, she's so crafty and clever. So that was a little like ornament tour. And of course, when I redid the family room, which is where we have in our house and a lot of houses in the US, you might have a living room and a family room. And although I called it the formal living room, that's actually the room that you're in right now. Ours is not so formal. It used to have more like formal furniture, you know, like the furniture that you never sit on. And I decided years ago that was silly. And so it's much more of a relaxed furniture style, but sorry, it's not a room that we use. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not a room we used to use on a daily basis. But now, you know, we've always put our Christmas tree in it. I have all my plants in it. I have my photos of my mom and my grandma there, and my grandmother's table that I inherited from my mom. But we also have like this white shag carpet in it, and it's right next to our family room. And Lorelai likes to take her toys from the family room and run into the white shag rug and use that as her play pad. So now we use it every day, every night. But anyway, since I redid the family room, which is where in the US most people will have like a TV in there, it's more of your like couch cozy place. That's also where our fireplace and mantle are. And so I redid our stockings because I also didn't want to pass Kennedy or Redley's stocking down to Lorelai. I just didn't like that. So those are in a special keepsake box. And then I made these matching stockings, which are knitted out of Barocco vintage worsted. The pattern is Star Brocade out of the Knit Christmas Stockings book. And I think if you go in Ravelry and just put in Star Brocade stocking, the pattern will pop up. A word of warning, I checked the book out of the library and used it. The version of the book I had was the first printing, and the second and third, I think that's how it was, charts were flipped. So if you get to where you're down here in the heel getting to work that, and something doesn't make sense, like all of a sudden your stars are not connected to each other, you might have the first printing and your charts are reversed. So anyway, I made them out of just like a snow day, I think is the colorway, that I had in my stash. I used 2 skeins, just under 2 skeins per stocking. And then I wanted to add a little bling, so I got these Swarovski crystal ornaments, initial ornaments, and attached those for each of us. So this is Lorelai's with her little L, and then I have a P and a G for Patrick and Gina. So those were fun to do, and I spent quite a bit of time working on those and getting those done so that they were ready to be hung up. We always put our decorations up the day after Thanksgiving. Patrick and I were talking about this the other day. I'm curious, if you live outside of the United States, like, is there a acceptable date for you to start putting up Christmas trees and ornaments and displays and things like that? Here in the US, most people try to, wait until Thanksgiving is done, and then like the day after Thanksgiving is like the kickoff to the Christmas, Hanukkah season. So what do you guys do in the country where you live? What else do I have in my Santa basket? Oh, so I thought I'd also show you guys some recent finished knits. Now, in all of my knits, you're going to notice a theme. Everything is a sock of some sort, a stocking or a sock. I've just been really addicted to knitting socks right now. And one of the things I decided to do after surviving the surgery and getting through hopefully the worst of that for now was just do whatever the hell I wanted each day. And right now that is getting up and knitting socks. So that's what I've been doing. Now I did make like a shawl for the fall, but we're past the fall, so I didn't bring that along. So these are, and I've been knitting a lot of Turtlepurl yarns. This is her, also on her Glitter and Stripes Turtlepurl yarns base, and this is the colorway Trenchcoat. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about these because I did something kind of different. So for me, I use a US 1, which is a 2.25 millimeter needle. I do magic loop. I do my socks one at a time most of the time. I prefer cuff down, although I do some toe up, and I'll show you that in a second. But these were kind of on the fly. So I did 64 stitches on a US 1, and I did a 1x1 rib at the top. Then down here, every time that the color changed, I did a slip one with the yarn and back, knit one. I do that on the first row of the new color. So you can see it gives it like that little, like almost like a houndstooth kind of jog to it. So I did that. When I got to the heel, I just did, I threw in some waste yarn on the heel stitches to do, so that I could do an afterthought heel. So I did that and just kept knitting and let the yarn go in its normal sequence with my slip stitch knit one as my color changes happened. On the toe, I did a traditional toe decrease, the knit one, SSK, knit to 3 stitches left, knit 2 together, knit 1, and then repeat that on the second half of the stitches. Then I went back and I picked up my stitches that were on the waste yarn for the afterthought heel, and I manipulated my yarn that was left over so that I got to the brown and red bits. And then I did that as a garter row, short row heel, and then grafted it together with the other half of the live stitches from the sock. And I really liked how they turned out. I think they just turned out really cute. If you are trying to do that, I don't have it down as a written pattern, I just did it on a whim. But if you're trying to do it and you have questions, just send me an email. Instagram is honestly probably the easiest way to get to me. If you're on Instagram, just send me a direct message in Instagram. But I check Ravelry every now and then. I'm not on there as much as I used to be. And then GinaKnaus@yahoo.com. You can also email me there. So those were a lot of fun, and I've been getting a lot of wear out of those because, you know, it's the holiday season. I thought it would be fun to have that as with the glitter, and I just love the Burberry colors. I have so many things that have that color scheme in them. And then this is also Turtlepurl yarns, and this is her colorway Zebra Diva, and Zebra is the ribbon, awareness ribbon for the type of cancer that I have. So when I saw she had Zebra Diva, I snagged up a skein of it, and these might end up being my most wearable socks because, like, I just wear my knit socks regardless of what's happening with the rest of my outfit, because especially in the fall and winter, you don't usually even see them because I have on boots and things like that. But then I have like some Mary Janes that show off the socks. So, you know, if I have on blue jeans and I wear, I'll probably show you the next pair of socks that I've made, you know, they go well. But every now and then, you know, maybe you're in like dress shoes and black dress pants. So like these will actually be acceptable to wear with something like that. So this was just a simple knit. It was one that I knitted during movies, things like that. So it was just a vanilla sock kind of pattern. But I really liked how it all turned out. I didn't manipulate. I just kept going for the heel, and it just happened to look normal. So it is an interrupted sequence of stripes, but it worked out. So I was really happy with those. And then the third pair of finished ones that I have to show you are the ones that I mentioned, you know, go well with, especially like, you know, like blue tops or denim on denim is really popular right now. So I wear that with my Mary Janes and these socks. And this is also Turtlepurl yarns. This is not the glitter base though. This is just the stripe turtle toes. And this is the Gastineau Falls colorway. And I have loved this colorway for ages, and I finally just like jumped in and got it. And again, I just did let the yarn do what it wanted. So it is an interrupted sequence here with the heel, but it looks fine. And just a normal vanilla sock. But these are highly wearable too. The other thing about my socks is I used to always hand wash my socks. I don't know, like I keep telling Patrick, when they took out my parts this year, they took out some of my patience and my willpower, because now I just like, there are things that I did before that I'm just like, why? So hand washing my socks, like most of the yarns that I buy to knit my socks say that, you know, you can machine wash them, or ungentle wool, you know, use appropriate cycles and soap. So I've just been like machine washing things. And the other benefit is that when I had this surgery, as a side effect, I lost quite a bit of weight, but I also had this swelling in my legs and my ankles that went away once I didn't have the tumors anymore. And so now all my socks were stretched out. Now I wash them in the washing machine and they're not stretched out anymore. So I just wash them in the washing machine and then just lay them over like a little gate thing that we have to dry, air dry. So they work great. Where do we want to go next in this basket of goodies? How about this bag? We'll see unpack what's in here. And this is a bag that Patrick purchased for me for Christmas years ago, and it's from the FeltedFlowerShop on Etsy, and that is actually Christina's sister Heather. Hi Heather. So she does wonderful work, and she has some tea cozies and things like that in her shop. And inside of that bag I have quite a few things. First, so Hannah sent me the advent packages, and in each of her advent packages, there's a mini skein of like 10 grams. And the mini skeins that are coming from Carol and Christina and myself, I had a plan for that I'll show you here in a second. But for the ones from Hannah, I didn't have a plan for. So I decided I didn't want to just do normal scrappy socks because I'd done that before. I did that last year for Advent. So I gathered up, I had a skein of this Lorna's laces just in their natural base that Patrick had gotten me for Christmas last year. He got me the yarn to make the Doctor Who knee socks, and I did that. But when he did the order, he mistakenly got 3 skeins of the cream to go along with it. So voila, I pulled this off the shelf, a skein of that, and then I started from the toe up, and I did just a normal increased toe from the cast on up in just the cream. And then I did knit 1 in cream, knit 1 in the mini, and then on the next row, knit the opposite color. And I did them in 13 row sections. So this is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and so on. And I did a German short row heel that I'm going to talk about in another pattern here in a second. But I did it out of the cream, and then I resumed the pattern of using the minis. Now, I didn't want them to be super high. So at this point, I have one more day to add to this one. And then after I add that day in, then it's just gonna have a cream tutu cuff. I think a tutu cuff. I don't know. I started doing just like a cream, like a rolled top edge, but I don't like it. So I'm gonna rip that few rows back and do a normal tutu ribbed cuff. And then the rest of the minis from Hannah, I'm putting into a little basket that I have, and those are going to be contrast heel yarns for my socks for 2018, because I never have what I need for a contrast heel, and 10 grams is enough for me to get a heel for myself, or I think, fingers crossed, for a pair of socks for Patrick, because I don't always do contrasting heel, toe, and cuff. A lot of times we'll just do the heel. So that's what the rest of those minis are going to be for. But I've had so much fun doing the socks. And then this is a little needle holder that Carol sent us for one of our Advent days. So that's been fun to have. I will say that little Miss Lorelai, the only victim of puppy chewing so far, see, I told you, she's not a morning dog. The only victim of puppy chewing so far was one of my Chiagu US1 needles that I like to use for magic loop. So that promptly got put onto the list for Santa, but that's not too bad. She has absconded this week. Some of the minis have come in like ball form instead of skein form, and they're just the right size to look like her little tennis ball, and so she tries to run away with those, and we have to gather those back away from her. So, yeah, so those have been a lot of fun to work on. And, well, I don't have the stitch markers on there anymore that the girls sent. But while I'm speaking about Hannah, one of the things that Hannah focused my package around was that the 100-year anniversary for Finland happened to be one of the days during Advent. And so when she sent the package, one of the main gifts in it, I'll show you, I'm knitting a pair of socks, but the yarn is Lady Finland. And then on the 100 finish day, she had, what did it have in it? I think it had a Finnish little caricature stitch marker and some Finnish candy. And then she had cut out this interesting Finland fact sheet, which I thought was so fun to read. Patrick and I read it over together, and it was just really interesting to learn different things, like there are more saunas than cars in Finland, things like that. 2.2 million saunas. I wonder how many we have here. I don't know. Like, that's a lot of saunas for, yeah. But under the cool Finnish inventions, were Angry Birds and the Molotov cocktail. So I just thought, you know, it was interesting, and they have a really good sense of humor. So it's just fun to learn. And then the Advent packages that I did with Carol and Christina for my days, I thought I'd show this since I had it in the bag. For my days on my tags, I don't know how clear it's going to show, I did a little stamped, my mother-in-law has all these stamps, so I borrowed her Christmas stamps earlier this year, stamped them, and then did like little watercolor paints on them and stamped the day on and put those on the front of my packages. And for those packages, we are making a little stocking garland. So each day has a little mini and then like a little gift in it. And this one was yarn that I put in. It is, what is it? Hedgehog fibers. And the color, cherry bomb, sour cherry, something like that. But anyway, so we're just using Susan Anderson's little mini stocking pattern. They need to be blocked desperately. And just, you know, it's kind of nice because they work up really fast. You just knit one in a day. And then so here's my little stack. You just knit them up, and then I'm going to block them. And I think what I'm going to do is get like, I don't know, some kind of like wooden branchy type things. And then I'm going to put little gifts in them next year and have it be like Patrick's advent calendar in his office, that he gets something every day, because I feel really guilty opening my advent packages every day and he doesn't have that. So I thought next year I will put together something for him so that he can go into the little stockings and get like a little treat every day. So all right, let's see, I have just a few more things. So this bag is from Stitchen You Bags, and you can find her on Instagram and Etsy, and it's probably one of my favorite bags. I just love the cardinals. It makes me think of my mommy, so I like to use this bag a lot during winter. She's just like a rag doll. Okay, and this is the yarn that I mentioned that Hannah sent to me. Now it's all in Finnish, so I cannot really pronounce everything for you, so I'll just hold it up here. But the color translated, I asked Hannah about, and it means Lady Finland, which makes complete sense because it looks like the colors of, it reminds me of the Finnish flag. Okay, so I did one of my goals before I knew I was gonna be in such a health crisis this year. One of my goals I had set last year for 2017 was to knit up a bunch of patterned socks. Well, that didn't happen, but I finally, come December, felt well enough to actually make that happen. So I think it'll continue to be a goal for 2018. So I think I'll probably do that a lot in 2018. But these socks, the yarn I'm using, I just showed you, I talked about, I'm doing a US 1 2.25, and the pattern is Pebble socks, and that's from Mina Phillip, the knitting expat. Very simple, so it is a paid for pattern, but it's a very simple pattern, and you really only do the pattern portion on the front. But I really loved how this, you know, sometimes you just have a yarn that goes with the pattern so well, and I just loved how it ended up striping and showing up in the pattern and in the back where it's just stockinette. Now the Pebble socks pattern, and many of her patterns I believe use the German short row heel, and I had never done that before, and it worked. I really like it. So I did it on this sock, on the one that was finished, and then I started my advent socks that I just was showing you with the color work. So I wanted to cement the pattern in my head so I could use it for future socks. So that's why I did the German short rows heels in that pair as well, and did them here. And yeah, just really like how that's working out. So those I just have to knit the toe on the one and that will be finished. And then the only other thing I have in the basket, whew, I'm out of practice doing this podcasting thing. What is today? Today is the 14th. So let me quickly, So this is one of the packages from Hannah for day 14. I thought I'd open it. So she wrapped each little gift set in magazine paper, and they all are winter crafts or winter snow scenes and things like that. And she just took a little ball and wrote on the date on the ball, and then wrapped it with red string. So we'll open it up and see what's in here. Ooh. And then she wrote out on little tags what each of the yarns is. So this is Wool Mice Twin and the color Tutu Light. That'll be a great heel yarn. That's perfect. I'm excited. So that'll go into my little heel yarn basket. And then what do we have? We have a lip balm. So keep my lips from chapping. So that'll go. Everything, it's so nice too because you can like pop all your little Advent gifties into your knitting bag and you're all set. You've got everything you need. And then this is the little bag that Carol put together for the Knitter's Wreath, and she did these little tags this year with little red and white hanging thread, and then she did little like washi tape with alpacas on the back. So we'll see what is inside of this package. Goodies. I'm like a kid. I love Christmas. I always wake up, I still wake up early, and poor Patrick. We don't have kids, but you know, kind of feels like we do on Christmas morning. Ooh, this is pretty. Dream in Color Starry in this lovely red. Ooh, it's so nice. Oh, that is really nice. That is really, really nice. Oh, I'm excited to knit that up today. And our little goodie, and let's see, it's wrapped in washi tape. Carol got very clever this year with her gifty items. I did it all, mostly, except for one thing, I think. I did little handmade items, and Carol got super clever with us, and then Christina did her badges. And this year, or today, for this day, Carol gave me this brooch. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. Perfect for Christmas, a Christmas brooch. So, you know, I will probably have a red wool coat that this will look very nice on, that I wear a lot for holiday gatherings. So that's probably where I'll use that. I think that's the end of the Christmas basket. So anyway, I hope that you guys found something that you enjoyed and that you enjoyed getting to meet little Lorelai. She needs a haircut, but I can't decide like what kind of haircut she's gonna have to have. But I also like, it's like a little kid. I don't want to get her first haircut. She's so cute and sweet. Yeah, you look like a little cotton ball. You look like a little cotton ball. Oh, if you have a white dog, and you know they get like that tear stain stuff, we just started her on something called AccuBrite, and they're like these little beef treats, and it changes like the chemical makeup of their tear or something so that it doesn't stain their white around their eyes. So just a little trick that I picked up on. With the Yorkies, I just really never had to worry much about their fur. Like I didn't have to really brush them very much. We kept them with a very short, like Westie puppy cut. But her, I wish you guys could reach out and feel, she's so soft and silky. Am I just like spinning you around doing all kinds of things? She's very good in the car. So I have several bags that we just pop her in her bag, and then, yeah, you know what that means. We pop her in her bag, and then we go run our little errand to PetSmart, or you know, whatever we have to do where she's okay to go in. Yeah, she's so cute, so sweet. I'm in love. So I hope that you guys have a great holiday and that you're all doing well, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and happy knitting and crocheting. Bye-bye.